What's going on, guys? This is Nims here, and in this video I'm going to show you how to get the best possible render settings for your YouTube video, your gameplay video, 720p or 1080p output for you. So let's get straight to it. Drag in your clip, whatever you got. Make this real short real quick. And first thing you absolutely want to do is right click on your video, hit properties, and disable resample. Please do that. It'll make your video 100 times better. It makes it a lot more clear. If you leave Smart Resample on and you render your video, you'll watch it and it's going to be really blurry looking, like there's always like this motion blur going on. Get that out of the way. Disable resample. First thing you want to do, you'll be editing your clips and you'll be, oh, I forgot to disable resample, so you have to go in and disable it for every single little clip or split clip you got. First thing, that's what you want to do. Next, we want to go up here. Under Insert, you want to hit Properties or Alt-Enter. And usually by default, Sony will automatically adjust this for you. The second you drop in a clip there, it'll ask you match project settings and all that. You'll hit OK, and it'll do all this for you. But let's make sure this is all correct first. Template, I have mine a custom template for 1920 by 1080p at 60 FPS. So if you're recording at 1080p and all that, you want this to be 1920 by 1080, field order, none, progressive scan, pixel aspect ratio, default, output rotation, default. And since my video is at 60 frames per second when I was recording, it's automatically going to be 60. You might see 30 on there. Whatever you record in, it'll show up right there for your frame rate. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave mine on 60 right there for myself. Stereo 3D, yeah, you don't need that. Pixel format, 8-bit. All this is default. Full resolution rendering quality, you want that to be on best. Motion blur, default. The method, default. All this, default. Don't really need to mess with any of this other stuff. Audio, ruler, summary, and audio CD. You don't need to mess with any of these other tabs. All you got to do is have this right here. Pause the video right there if you need to make sure you got everything correct. And when you're done with that, just up there on template, just name it whatever you want. And hit save the little floppy disk there, and you won't have to worry about it again, and hit apply. So once that's done, you have your clip in the video, in the timeline, and you're done, you're ready to render. You want to go ahead and, I just double click in this empty space down here, and it'll automatically move these little yellow bars on my clip for me. That way you don't over render your video, under render, or something like that, that you're not adjusting it yourself. I just double click down there and it takes care of that for me. So you're ready to render. Come up here to File, Render As, and by default you'll see all these crazy looking render settings. What we want to use is Sony AVC/MVC. You want to hit Internet 1920 by 1080p, or if you're recording in 720p, same deal here. It's going to be the same both ways. Just hit one of those, whatever you're recording in. Hit Customize Template, and here we are again. We're going to have video format for AVC there. Your frame size is going to be 1920 by 1080p or 1280 by 720p, depending on what you're recording in. Allow source to adjust frame rate. That's going to be unchecked. Your profile is going to be high. CABAC, that's going to be default there. It's the only option. Frame rate, it is going to be NTSC or 30 frames a second. YouTube does not allow 60 frames per second videos, so don't do double NTSC at 60 frames per second. You're just going to be wasting your time. It's going to make your upload a little bit slower when you're uploading to YouTube. So go ahead and put that on 29 by 970 or 29.970, which is 30 frames a second, which is what YouTube plays in. Allow source to adjust frame rate. Going to leave that unchecked. Field order, non-progressive scan, pixel, default. And bitrate, this important part here. Short and simple. Lower is lower quality. Higher is higher quality. Usually anything above 15, it doesn't really matter. You're not going to be really able to tell a difference. I usually kind of just for safe measure put 17 or 18. Usually what I do is 18 most of the time. So you can put whatever you want there. But usually, if you want to keep it default, leave it on 15. That'll be probably the best. Number of slices, keep that on 1. Encode mode, depending on what video card you have, you're going to really want to render using GPU if you can. If you have a higher end NVIDIA card or higher end card, you definitely want to render with your GPU. It makes your render time a whole lot faster. It gets it done a lot quicker and better. If you don't and you got a lower end card, just leave that on automatic for a safe measure. But again, if you can, render using GPU if available. Audio, you're not going to mess with it. Ignore it. System, Check your GPU if you have CUDA cores available. That'll tell you right there CUDA is available, so you can render using your GPU. And over here to project, you want your video rendering quality to be on best. And that is it for the rendering settings. Again, go ahead and pause the video right here if you need to make sure you got everything right. Again, bitrate doesn't matter if it's anything over 15, really. And that's pretty much it. Once you're done with all that and you've messed with everything, go up there back to template and just name it something random like custom 1080p YouTube output, whatever, and hit that little floppy disk again, save it, and you won't have to worry about it again. Once you save it, it'll appear down wherever it is on here. Mine was named custom new, whatever, and click that little star there so it shows up, and show favorites only. That way you don't see everything else and accidentally click the wrong render settings. I'm sorry, and hit that. There's your render. You have everything done. Oh, I kind of messed with it a little bit there. And name your video, whatever. Choose an output folder and hit render. So your video is rendered. Everything's good to go. That is pretty much it, guys. There's not much else you can really do to improve the quality of your video. You can kind of mess with some effects a little bit to make it look just slightly better. I think in here I have an effect on already. That's why it looks a little bit better. Yep, I do. So let me go ahead and turn those off and redo this real quick for you guys so you can see. Okay, as you can see now, it looks a little more washed out. What you want to do if you want to make it look a little bit better, scroll down the levels on where your effects are. Come down here and you want to hit Studio RGB to Computer RGB. You can drag that onto the clip if you want, or just drag it onto the entire track. That way it'll affect all the videos in the track. You don't have to put it on one by one. And that kind of gives it a little bit more life. It darkens up the darks, lightens up the lights a little bit, gives it a little more contrast, makes it a little bit better. Let me kind of turn that off and on there. See, without it looks a little washed out, and putting that on makes it look just a little bit better. A lot nicer in my opinion. One more thing you can do is you can scroll down to sharpen here. Put that onto the track. And by default it is way, way, way too much, so we drag that pretty much all the way down. And I do not put anything really over above 10. 0.010 is usually what I have it on. Maybe even that's too much sometimes. You can kind of play with it, but I definitely would, if you're going to sharpen it a little bit, don't go over 10 there. It'll start making things look a little bit weird, like text and stuff. So that's what that's just my deal. That's what I do for some of my videos. It makes it look a little bit better. As you can see, let me get another frame there. And turn that off, and see, it definitely gives it a little effect. Mostly the levels there, it definitely makes it look a whole lot better. But that is it, guys. Thanks for watching. Remember, right click, properties, disable resample. Please make sure you do that first when you're editing. That way you don't spend time and time and time again disabling resample for all your clips. Do that, please. That is probably the biggest thing I want you to get out of this video. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.